Hey everyone, it's Paul with the Tuesday video. And this week, I'm actually going to do something that I've actually never done, which is that I am actually going to do a free analysis of a controversial company that I've gotten some heat on. And it's the company Robinhood. And many of you who are familiar with trading of any kind, certainly if you're a little bit younger, this is probably the company that you are using to buy and sell stocks, to buy and sell options, to buy and sell crypto. And I'm making this video because Robinhood, even after the controversy of GameStop and meme stocks and all of this other stuff that happened earlier this year, well, they're growing gangbusters. And they are doing so well, in fact, that they are going to be coming public. In other words, their stock is going to be available to everybody to invest. And I'm going to tell you a secret tip at the end of this video about this IPO that I believe could put you really in a good spot if what I believe is going to happen actually unfolds. All right. So first, to the part of analysis with respect to Robinhood IPO and why I believe that this is actually a pretty astonishing company and definitely an America 2.0 company, and a company that is set up for the millennial generation, which I believe is a significant part and a rising part of pretty much every company's business today. So the story with Robinhood begins in 2013. And I can actually recall in 2014 coming across their app and actually trying to get people to actually be interested in it because it was pretty new. And even though its interface was so easy, most people at that point were much more wedded to their existing apps in terms of investing. It might be E-Trade or TD Ameritrade or Schwab or somebody like that. And so Robinhood actually did something really incredible. They actually made it where you had to join a list to actually get signed up for the app. And I remember waiting for months and months and months before finally actually getting the invite. And I remember with excitement actually going to open my account. And back in those days, 2014, 2015, Robinhood, this is according to their documents that they just filed for their IPO, had just about 500,000 users. And you would never believe, given what you read in the media today, where they are today. In other words, at the end of the first quarter of 2021, so March 31st, 2021, they now have 18 million daily active users. So DAU is something that is a statistic that is compiled for everyone from Twitter to Facebook. In other words, they actually look at how many people come onto a platform and actually do something. So with Robinhood, it could be buying and selling a stock, buying or selling an option, buying or selling a cryptocurrency, moving money in, because you can actually hold a balance at Robinhood. So 18 million people is a lot of people. And the other thing that's pretty amazing when I go through these documents is that the average age of a Robinhood user or account holder is 31 years old. So this is a very young base of customers. And when you compare that to someone like Schwab, it's about 50 years old. So there's a pretty significant difference between the customer base for Robinhood versus Schwab. The other thing that's pretty amazing to me is how much sales they generate. It's an extraordinary amount given what they do. So in the first quarter of 2021, Robinhood generated over $522 million in sales. So if you annualize that, in other words, every year is made up of 4 quarters, they're at a run rate of over $2 billion in sales. So this is a company that is doing something right. In other words, you've got 18 million users who are coming on every day to do something, and they're generating $522 million in sales per quarter, so every 3 months, and they're on a run rate to do $2 billion. And that mix is really in favor of options. And this is also somewhat controversial um, from the perspective of people like Charlie Munger. And if you want to hear what Charlie Munger had to say about Robinhood and about options and what Warren Buffett had to say, check into the Ian cast, which my incredible colleague Ian and I did on Friday. And we went through what Charlie Munger and Warren Buffett had to say about Robinhood and about options, et cetera. Nonetheless, sticking to the point here, Robinhood generated 38% of its sales from options, 26% from stocks, and crypto was 17%. And a significant part of crypto is actually from Doge, which, for those of you who don't know, this is the first sort of meme coin, if you will. It was created partly as a joke, and then Elon Musk and other celebrities took it on and have caused many other people to adopt it as their currency. It now has a very significant following worldwide. And in many ways, that represents Robinhood. In other words, prior to Robinhood coming along, investing, even though it had gone from being for the super elites and the super rich, like in the 1940s and 50s, when commission rates were so high that it was prohibitive for anybody to really have any shot of actually making a trade. I believe it was something like 10 or 15%, or maybe even higher, of the value of your stock was taken as commission. Eventually, in the 1980s or so, we got to discount brokers, and where it was more widely available to people. So people like Schwab and others actually made it where it was cheaper. However, for a long time, it was still $15, $20, $30, which may seem like very little to many people. However, to a very large part of our society, of our country, that's actually unaffordable. That eliminates them. And certainly some number of the elites will say, people who believe that that's right and that stock should only be for the elites and very rich people, will say, well, if you don't have $8, you shouldn't be investing in the market. And I'll disagree. And I am actually firmly 100% on the side of Robinhood, opening up access to the capitalist system, to the stock market, even speculating through options to everyone, because it is definitely a way to make money. Certainly you take risk. Nonetheless, that risk is your own. You take responsibility for that. And this opens up a way to do it. And Robinhood was the very first one to bring out all of these innovations. No commissions, not on options, not on stocks, not on crypto. And the Charlie Mungers of the world would say, well, that's really a scam. They charge you in the bid and ask price. The truth is that the regular brokerage companies, they charge you that in the bid and ask price, and then they used to charge you commissions on top of that. So at the very least, Robinhood eliminated the commissions, and now, just like everybody else, it's included in the bid and ask price, as it is when you go to every other broker. So there's no real difference here in the way that Robinhood runs its business or runs its operation. Second thing, people say, oh, they sell their orders to market makers. All brokerage companies do that. So there's nothing special or unusual here. Some brokerage companies may have their own market making operation so that they keep those profits for themselves. Others send it out to external market makers like Citadel and Renaissance and others that fulfill the orders for them. However, in doing that, they are acting like every other brokerage company. And in truth, there's no other way to operate in the stock market. Robinhood does not keep inventory of all the stocks that you want to buy. And so they have to deal with people that are willing to transact to get it and make it their business to transact, to be able to deliver the stock when you want to buy it, or take the stock from you when you want to sell it. And the stock market certainly would be unable to operate in its current form without the presence of market makers. So there's nothing unusual or different or anything that's scandalous here with respect to Robinhood. The other really, really democratizing and revolutionizing thing that Robinhood did is that they said you needed no minimum balance. which really meant that anybody could download the app and instantly get going. You could put $1 in, you could put $10 in. In fact, they gave you a free stock to get you going. And many people dismissed that. However, I have learned from many of my friends who joined Robinhood that many of them got GameStop as their free stock. Other folks got AMC as their free stock. So this has been a substantial addition to certainly their wealth, and then their desire to learn more about investing, desire to learn more about speculating and understanding the financial markets, and using it as a means to better their lives, to be able to do things, which is definitely what the stock market has been for me. Many of the ethos that underpin Robinhood are definitively the way that I personally have actually gone about making money in the stock market myself, which is that I definitely was only able to afford stocks once the Schwabs of the world and E-Trades of the world came online. And back then, commissions were as much as $20. Only after Robinhood came through and became a big enough presence in investing did all of them reduce their commissions down to zero. The other thing that Robinhood did that also made it super easy for people to invest is they introduced fractional shares. In other words, before you would need to buy 1 share or 10 shares or 100 shares. Instead, they said, oh, you have $100? We will find a way to invest that for you. In other words, you never needed to care about shares anymore. You just brought your money and you bought how much ever you wanted. So let's say you want to buy $100 worth of Apple, and let's say 1 share is over $150 or $200, whatever, you could never do it. Now you can own a fractional share and you can just keep buying over time, which is also democratizing and also opens things up. And that is the basis of innovation, if you will. For me, innovation is when something that people want to do is made more available to more people in a cheaper way, in a more convenient way, and gives access to people. And the more convenient part is related to the user interface of Robinhood, which if anyone's used it, it is so much easier than pretty much any other brokerage company. You go and compare it to E-Trade or Fidelity, and I can tell you that Robinhood is one-touch investing. If you know what stock you want, you know what amount you want to put into it, you just put that in. As long as the money is in your account, you can do it. And they also offer access to cryptocurrency, which they were very early on. In other words, Robinhood was on Bitcoin very early, and folks who got in early on Bitcoin and Doge and others have made an extraordinary amount of money. All right, so why am I telling you all this? Well, number one, Robinhood is coming IPO. So I believe that this is going to be a significant company in the world of investing. And here's the secret that I mentioned earlier, which is that Robinhood plans to actually give people that use Robinhood access to the IPO. Now, here's why this is important. You see, most of the time, and we actually have an IPO speculator service where we focus on IPOs. Most of the time, companies actually will never give any shares in an IPO to regular folks. They're actually set aside for hedge funds and for family offices and institutional investors. And Robinhood actually plans to set aside as much as 35% of their shares for the people that actually use the Robinhood app. I believe that's super cool. That's pretty awesome. And I really commend the company for doing it. And I actually believe, given the economics that I laid out, in other words, 18 million daily active users, $522 million in sales in the last quarter, a run rate of $2 billion, a revenue base that's skewed towards options and stocks and also crypto, which makes it very unique. Their user interface, I believe that this company could do well. Now, just understand, this is not financial advice. I'm not a licensed financial advisor. So if you load up on Robinhood and it goes down, sure, you can troll me forever. Nonetheless, I want to warn you, all growth stocks like Robinhood tend to be volatile. So this channel is intended really for putting out ideas because Robinhood is the kind of idea that we actually look at across our services. And I'll be looking at Robinhood to put it in all likelihood either into my Profits Unlimited service or also go into our IPO Speculator service. The IPO Speculator service focuses exclusively on IPOs, and we have a particular formula using various things, including the kind of analysis that I mentioned in this video. So, it'll either go there or it might go into Profits Unlimited, because this is going to be a large company. This is going to be a $40 billion company. And with the growth rate that it's had, if it's 40 billion, I'm thinking this probably could be pretty cheap. If you're willing to look out 1, 2, 3, 5 years out, this could be very, very cheap. And that's how growth investors are. And that's the way we look at the world. We look out 1, 3, 5 years, because in my experience, that's how professional investors that really make the big money, the Peter Thiels of the world, this is how they do. They look out 1, 3, 5 years, because they know that in the early years, there's a lot of costs, and then you get the benefit really in the out years. So you have to really be willing to look out a little bit and to really make the big money. So if you want to see if we're going to add this to Profits Unlimited, click on the strong hands above. This is going to send you to an invitation to subscribe, and which will give you access to our current portfolio, which has something like about 40 stocks in it. This year, that portfolio is up about 8%. We track it on an equal weighted basis. And then once you subscribe, then you will have ongoing coverage of Robinhood. And we've got other stocks in there like Coinbase and Palantir and Moderna and others that represent what we call America 2.0 investing, growth investing, fourth industrial revolution investing. So that's my video for this week. The Robinhood IPO is coming. That's takeaway number 1. They're going to give some number of shares to people who actually use the Robinhood platform. So maybe worthwhile to actually go and start to use it. At the very least, he'll give you a shot at what I believe could be a pretty valuable IPO. And third, check into Profits Unlimited. We may look to add it once it comes IPO. Obviously, we can't add it before that. And if you're interested in checking out Profits Unlimited, it goes for about $50. Click on the strong hands above and then come back and watch our videos again. We appreciate any support that you can give us by giving us a thumbs up or hitting the subscribe button, and I'll have another video for you next week. Until then, this is Paul saying bye.